Previously on Raised on Popcorn with Grant. Boring! We now return to your regularly scheduled review already in progress. Hi everyone! It's me, Grant the Movie and TV Guy. Welcome to Raised on Popcorn with Grant, everybody. Or more particularly, do the thing. Fuck you! Hey Drew. Hey, buddy. Before we begin the review proper, I want to take you back to the misty slopes of October, I believe it was. Yeah, it was October of last year, 2022, when I saw a little film called Ponniyin, Selvan, Part 1. And I basically said, "What up, Jared? Dope, what movie?" Oh, before we begin, I also should say this. Thank you to 300. Thank you for all those people, including Jared among them and Drew among them, who got me to 300. You guys are amazing. Love you guys. So anyway, part 1 of Ponniyin, Selvan. Warrior. Dude, Warrior. Now see, another movie I could have been watching. Warrior's a good movie. Highly recommended. Underrated. It's a good flick. Anyway. That being said, Ponniyin, Selvan Part 1 was dull. But I said in the review, I said, I'm still going to see Part 2, and I hoped for the best, that it was going to lead somewhere. So how bad was this? It retroactively made me change my score to Part 1. That being said, hi everyone. Ponniyin, Selvan Part 2 is directed by, let's see, Mani Ratnam. What's the plot? I don't know. I have now dedicated, with these two movies together, I have dedicated nearly 6 hours of my life to it. I still don't know what this is about. I still don't know why I should care. What I can gather is palace intrigue, exposition. Ponniyin, Selvan's a character that's barely in the movie. 2.5 hours of exposition. Spoiler alert, by the way. To a battle that lasts 3 minutes for 3 minutes and is almost unintelligible. Exactly. Exactly. Oh, but Jared, what you don't know is that this is Part 2. I saw Part 1, so altogether, it's actually more like 5 hours and 40 minutes. It's long. Luckily, there was a few months in between, but they're all together a long movie. And about 5 hours and 25 minutes of that is setup. Nothing else. And not interesting setup either. There's no mythology, it's just boring. But basically, palace intrigue, people die, battle, the Cholos are coming, I guess, to battle for the empire of India, South India. I just don't care. I'm going to make a confession to you guys, and Jared knows this. I was so unbelievably frustrated with the fact that after the recap, basically, it's just back to business as usual for the majority of this movie, of just stupid exposition. I took my phone out, went to the Bells watch-along stream, which I should have been on tonight, except I had to sit through this piece of shit. And I went on the stream just long enough to tell them I was suffering in here, and how much I wish I could have been there. And then I proceeded to play Royal Match for 2 hours. Because what was happening on screen was so uninteresting to me. But to be fair, while I was doing that, I was actively paying attention to the film. It didn't matter. It was just... Mark Kermode had this great quote, I believe it was in a review of either Last Days or not Breathless, what was the name? The one with the chick from Alice in Wonderland, Restless, right. Where he said something like, this movie is so dull that you could die while watching it and not even realize it. Like, it's that bad. I feel cheated. Because the other thing is they don't let you use A-list points to get a ticket to this. So I paid, luckily I took $5 off of my rewards. It still cost me $17 for a ticket to this movie. Fuck you. But at the same time, I don't even have the energy to get really that angry. I'm just so... I feel like I wasted my life. Like, I really do. I feel like this is... 300 subscribers, everybody! That's the best thing to happen today. Because, you know, this is just... Ugh. This is the kind of movie that's so dull and so bad and such a waste of time it can ruin your whole night. There are death scenes in this movie that are supposed to be serious and they're funny in how they're staged. There's a character in this movie that, unless I missed something, found out that the person she assumed was her father was her real father, and she killed herself, and in response, she drowned herself. Why? Maybe I did miss something, but I don't understand why they did that. And then, to make matters worse, after this really short battle that they've been building 2 movies worth of, almost 3 hour long movies up to, the last 15 minutes are 10 minutes of wind down exposition and like 10 minutes of credits. With nothing added on. It's just the credits. It's such a ripoff. Like, okay, I've never read this book this movie is based on, which is this great epic that apparently is like something like 2,000 pages. It feels like, even though it has an ending and it is conclusive, it still feels like we're still in the first half of the novel. Like, it's really weird. It feels like not a lot has... It's one of those movies that is so convoluted and dull at the same time. It feels like nothing has happened in 2 movies and everything on planet Earth and the multiverse has happened at the same time. It's disorienting. None of the characters I cared about, because... And it's not even the fault of the actors, although the acting is really histrionic. It's the fault of the filmmaker, because there are a lot of characters in this story, clearly, but they don't know how to give them enough time to develop. There's so many that important characters will have important moments that have no setup. They just happen. It's so disorganized. But on top of that, it pulls The Last Airbender in that, one of the things I hate in movies, that I think is the most boring thing ever, is when a movie doesn't know how to write a screenplay, and so it's just explaining the plot the entire time. There's no humor, there's no life, like The Last Airbender movie, where they have a lot to cover, and they think the way to do that is to have people basically reading the book to you that this is based on, just expositioning for hours, literally hours. It's one of those movies that is so unbelievably dull that in the first 10 minutes you feel like you've already watched it for 3 hours, and when it's finally over, you feel like you've been there for like half a lifetime. It's terrible. It's truly terrible. I don't... And again, I've never read the book, so I'm sure the book is better, but holy shit, it has to be. If this is a phenomenon? If it's anything like this movie, this is a phenomenon. Critics love this. Part 1 got like an 88%. This one doesn't have a lot of reviews on Rotten Tomatoes yet, but the 4 that are there, like 3 of them are extremely positive. Why? One of my buddies who works on the U.S. side of, who works in Hollywood and also works with pan-Indian cinema distribution in the U.S., Raul, my buddy Raul, he liked this movie. I don't know why, buddy. I don't get it. He didn't like Brahmastra, but he liked this one. I love you, Raul. I don't know what you're thinking there, but I just don't know how this is such a big thing for people. I don't... Like, Triple R felt like an event. That was a movie where you left on a high. You felt like... Because the action was terrific, and again, I said this in my review of the first one, which I rewatched before doing this, hopefully give me some inspiration. Action in and of itself is not required for me to enjoy a movie. I'm the guy who likes Skinamarink, okay? Where like 90% of that movie is a static shot of a door frame. in a child's house. Like, it doesn't really matter to me if a movie has a plot or dialogue or a lot of action going on. If it creates a mood, it creates a sense of life, it creates a sense of fear or joy or laughter or anything or sadness. This didn't do any of that. It just felt like school. It felt like you were just sitting there like the people who say that Beau is Afraid is too slow really need to see this movie, because that movie, at least, it's a slow burn, but what happens in it is at least engaging and bizarre and has your attention throughout. This movie doesn't have that. It's literally just, and there's some good dialogue in it. This movie is just people talking about the plot. Not talking about it in an engaging way, not in a way that you would imagine people would. It sounds like an AI. It sounds like these characters are just there to read reams of exposition, and we'll get to the battle eventually for 3 minutes. This movie it stinks. I didn't like it. I didn't like part one, but I went in with hope. Just the smallest sliver of hope that maybe, just maybe, it was building to something. I made the comparison to the Deathly Hallows, where part one was all right, but it was kind of a disappointment, but part two really delivered of the Deathly Hallows. This movie doesn't do that. It's just more dullness. And I'm tired of talking about it. I think we're going to cut this out. We could have just had a regular review, to be honest, now that I think about it, but I just needed to have the time to vent. I hated this movie. I really hated this movie. Guess what? Ponniyin Selvan Part 1 gets one of these, and retroactively, and you know what this gets? These. Ponniyin Selvan Part 2 is 0. Middle finger of kindness. This movie, Drew. This one. That's the answer to your question. And there are others, but right now, all I can think about is this one. He asked me, let's put his query up here. What movie do you think has the biggest issue of being 2 hours, 40-something minutes long when it didn't need to be? This movie. Absolutely, Drew. This movie, buddy. And this movie just, it's... And again, movies are getting long again, but the thing is that a lot of those movies are good. Like Beau is Afraid, whether you liked the movie or not, it can be acknowledged that at least on a technical, basic level, it's good. Like, it's a well-made movie. Everything Everywhere. Like, movies are getting long, and it's okay. Because sometimes you need that length to really flesh out a story. This didn't have a story. It was convoluted exposition. That's it. Music film. Yes, there is, but the thing is, there are no musical numbers, which is usually, like dance and song numbers, which is one of the best things about pan-Indian cinema. It actually, those scenes are at least memorable. There's a lot of, it is credited as a musical. It's not credited as a film in the movie. It's credited as a Mani Ratnam musical. But the thing is that it's all done in montage, and they kind of do the same 3 types of songs over and over, and it gets kind of repetitive after a while. It's not really interesting. Like, if you want a movie that has a really, really cool dance number, I don't know if it's still in theaters, because they have pretty short runs with Indian movies. But I saw this movie in 3D. Last month, I saw a movie called Bula in 3D. Now, see, that movie, critics have not been as kind to. I loved it, and I thought that the action was really good. I thought the characters were really fun. I liked the 3D. And the song and dance number was really vivid and fun. This was the pits, guys. This was really bad. It felt counterfeit. Like, it felt like one of those situations where you really, 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 really felt like... It's one of those movies that almost seems like... It's one of those movies this year that falls in that category of, maybe I should just quit. I'm not going to, but maybe I should, just because if I'm going to have more experiences like this. But then when I think that thought, I remember movies like the multitude of movies that have been out recently, like Are You There, God It's Me, Margaret, or Yesterday, the movie Say Yesterday, which also has a Bollywood influence, not a Bollywood movie, but has a Bollywood influence, Polite Society, which I loved, or something like Sisu. And it reminds me, movies still can be good because this movie's bad. In fact, it makes those really good movies feel even sweeter when you get them because you suffer through this kind of thing. Boy, did I suffer. I really hated this experience. I was also by myself in the theater. Just FYI. I hope this movie bombs. And luckily, there is no part 3. This is the end. Like the director has said, it was always going to only be 2 parts. It's over. I'm glad. We're done with it. And we are going to close the book 0 stars for Ponniyin Selvan Part 2. But before we go, let's do some trailer trash as per usual. Trailer trash. Yeah, let's talk about it. Thank you for all your queries and all questions and what have you. Trailer trash. This will be real quick. The Flash, we talked about it, looks good. Fast X, talked about it, looks good. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, talked about it, looks good. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, talked about it, looks good. And Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, we've talked about it, looks good. And was there trauma? No, there was not, although technically there is a shot that runs through the credits similar to Beau is Afraid, except that had some small amount of significance. This doesn't. That's another. Go see Beau is Afraid. Even if you think you're not going to like it, go see it. It's a good movie. A lot better than this, and a lot better use of the 3-hour runtime, which that movie is 3 hours. It's actually about 15 minutes longer than this movie, but it felt shorter. Yeah, hated this one. We'll stay to the bitter end. I don't recommend it. This isn't even like so bad it's good. This isn't like go see it because Grant says it's bad and it might be a good time kind of bad. No, it's not that. It's not that at all. Just don't bother. It's gonna ruin your night. I really should have just been watching Belle with my pals, and I didn't. I'm optimistic about Facts X, the director of the movie The Incredible Hulk and shit. I believe Drew, did you do a video like earlier today or yesterday about that? Out of curiosity? Because I think I watched it. Pretty sure I did. And I agree. But I'm pretty sure I did. Let me check. Luckily, I have YouTube literally right in front of me. Oh, you did? Okay. Yeah. I agree, buddy. And I watched your video. I completely agree. I'm optimistic. But then again, at the same time, I just really like the Fast and the Furious movies. I even the bad ones. There's something about it. It's just it's junk, but it's really good junk, and I just look forward to it. I'm sad that the series is apparently ending after the one after this one. That's like a 2-parter, but yeah. This is not. Speaking of 2-parters, this is not Kill Bill, not Dune. This is not it. It's both parts are bad. Like there's no both parts are good or one part's better than the other. They're both bad. Just don't go see either of these. It's such a waste of time. That's it though. We're gonna head out. It was a short stream. Thanks for the people who came. I also want to reserve my monthly StreamYard things, and the reason I'm saying that is for one very big reason, which is on Tuesday, because we hit 300, we are having a subscriber special. We are going to have with Jared Runner, Luke Ponto, my pal Nerdy Film Girl. It'll be her first time on the stream with me, which is exciting. And we also unlock our Movies and Train Studios is going to come by, buddy, there. We also, if anyone wants, we have one more slot we can fill. I went on the horn to my buddies Zach Milne and Zach Goller, as well as Becca Sandergaard and Fritzky and his sister Goose. Though 2 of them are going to be busy. I agree, by the way. The tribute to Paul Walker was perfectly done. Now, see, that was a moment I felt like the facade of that movie, of the universe, the acting side of it, rather, fell, and it was Vin Diesel talking about Paul Walker, not Dom Toretto talking about Brian. I thought that was really cool. Really touching. That was great. And I liked the emotional significance it had to where their characters started in the first movie. I thought that was really great. Anyway, but that's it. We'll have the stream coming up Tuesday, so yeah, if you want to For those on my social, DM me. Let me know in the comments if you want to join too, and tell me how to get to you. Drew, if you want to join, I'm pretty sure we follow each other on social media. I don't know for sure if we do, but either way, I'll reach out. And then we'll also, coming up, but we're still not done with movie reviews yet for this weekend. Tomorrow we will have a review of Big George Foreman, which I hope is better than it has to be. And then Monday we'll have backtrack reviews of the films Peter Pan and Wendy, which I hear is actually pretty good, which I'm happy about because I'm a big David Lowery fan. And the horror film Clock, which is streaming on Hulu. And then next week we have reviews of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and the romantic comedy Love Again, co-starring Celine Dion. So that's all coming up. And that'll all be next time. And until next time, I'm Grant the Movie and TV Guy. Like, subscribe, all that happy stuff. Waffles and all that. Check me out on Twitter, Facebook, Letterboxd, Serialized, Music Board, my podcast. Even though I haven't been up on the podcast, I need to do that. Get back on that again soon. And now I want to know down below. What did you think of Ponniyin, Selvan Part 2? Did you like the movie? Did you hate the movie? Think my opinion's good? Think I'm full of shit? Comment below, let me know. And until we meet again, we were all raised on popcorn. Make my life extra better. And I'll catch you guys next time, where hopefully the movies will be better. This has been the Angry Grant Show Live. I'm out. Peace, everybody. Take care. Bye.